I'm used to sneaking it up on people. They don't even know when we were recording.
Oh, shit.
We got Damn Fool in the building.
This nigga got a one-man production. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, man. The Inconsistent Podcast with Rob Haze. One of my OGs, somebody that been on the list of people we want on the show for years.
Oh. Well, I appreciate it.
Had to get to the fool. Didn't make sense to play it without the fool.
You can't do that. You can't play it without the fool. You had to get to that part.
Damn fool, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
I hope we don't have to read anything because I got terrible eyesight.
Oh no, we don't have to read anything.
Yeah.
Like reading stuff in the past is good.
Yeah.
Like having read something before, ideal. But yeah, you don't have to read live on the podcast.
I hate when I do this podcast and I got to do this. No, I see what you're saying. I really don't see what you're saying.
No surprise reading here. No, this is the Inconsistent Podcast. This is a random conversation. We just talk about whatever, you know.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
I'm good at those.
Kevin Damn Fool Simpson,
Esquire.
No.
My mom, you know, it's funny. My grandfather used to always send me $2 in the mail, like a $2 bill.
Oh, my grandfather did that too.
He sent me a $2 bill every birthday.
Yeah,
and he would always put on there Kevin Simpson Esquire, and like, cause you know I was a kid, I was just happy to see something with my name on it. Like mail was exciting when you. Was
right.
Now you see mail, you like, shit.
Did I get something? Bills.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he would write on the $2 bill?
No, he would write it on the envelope.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Simpson, Esquire.
I was like, that defeats the purpose.
Yeah. I still got most
the $2
of them.
bill. Yeah, my mom has them like somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My mom was a hoarder, so everything that we ever had, we still got.
I feel like hoarding might be hereditary because I have like all my grandmother and father's stuff. You know what I'm saying? So now, like, my grandmother was a hoarder, and now my dad was a hoarder, and now I'm hoarding like
the stuff that they had.
Yeah,
right.
It's like, no, these are heirlooms now. It's different.
Yeah, everything's a memory. It's like
right.
You don't have to keep your dad's fly swatter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but it was the first one I ever seen.
This was right before we got the little zapper.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. I am happy that she kept like all of my comic books and wrestling action figures and stuff. Like, that's a bunch of stuff I can pass down to my kid that'll actually be worth some money. You know what I'm saying?
Did you play with your toys? Are they out the package?
I had 2 sets. Like, I was that kid.
Ooh.
Like, I had so I would always ask for the same thing twice. Like, I would get it from here and there. Like, I'd ask my auntie for the same thing that I already had. That way I could play with this one and I can keep this one over
That's wild. Yeah.
Because my mom was big into like cards and stuff like when I was little, so she was like, you can't play with it, you can't touch it. I couldn't look at them. It's like, well, what's the point?
Yeah. What you mean I can't read the stats on the back? I want to know what he did last season.
Like, we had card packs that were literally not even open.
Yeah.
Like, we don't even know who's in there.
Oh, man.
It's crazy.
Cards are going crazy now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of cards going crazy. You probably got all kind of Craig Hodges cards. You don't even.
I got a Michael Jordan card. It's not even a Michael Jordan card. It's the Lonzo Mourning card. But Jordan has on number 12.
Oh yeah.
Somebody stole his jersey before the game. I got the infamous
blood jersey.
Yeah, I got the infamous Mark Jackson Menendez
Brothers card.
Anybody listening, if you want to buy it.
Okay. Nah, that's worth some money because they had courtside seats.
Yeah. I know that was an interesting situation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was my childhood. It wasn't, we ain't had cable, so it was a lot of.
Okay. You get a lot more out of the action figures when you don't got cable. Yeah.
It was a lot of comic books and action figures.
Okay. What was your favorite comic growing up?
I was an X-Men dude.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man, I would say was my favorite character, but like actually comics that I bought and read, X-Men, and like I would always get like the series. I didn't, you know what I'm saying, like Executioner Song or this or that. Like it's just different little series. They'd be like 6 or 7 books.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love those like storylines. So it was always my thing. So, but yeah, X-Men, and like
I was a lazy kid. X-Men had a lot of reading.
Yeah,
they was doing a lot of talking.
They had a lot of panels. Like,
they was doing a lot. It was like, man, I don't know. Superman just be punching people.
Yeah. See, I always had an issue with like the Superman. Like growing up, I hated Superman and Hulk Hogan because they were just like the two, like they were just too good.
Well, that held up really well.
Yeah.
Now you like there was a time where you probably had to defend your position against Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, well,
now
nobody, everybody hates him. So, but yeah, like people never understood that. You don't like Hulk Hogan? Like, nah, I really don't. Like, it's just like he's invincible.
I could see that, especially because it's like if you're rooting against him and you're like, we got him this time. Mm-mm. And then he just comes up out of nowhere, starts wagging his finger.
Oh my God.
And that it starts
shake.
and now you're like, this is weak.
Yeah.
Leg drop.
And it's like he was so bored in comparison to people like the Ultimate Warrior or Macho Man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like, but
some of it was placement, like the what was it? The midnight. What was the show that they would have like after SNL? The like wrestling. It was like on Saturday nights or whatever.
It was like Shotgun Saturday Night. Or
yeah.
Yeah.
They would have Hulk Hogan first. So then, if you fell asleep on like other people who like probably had more entertaining stuff going on. Exactly. But everybody saw the Hulk Hogan part because it was first.
Yeah. So he ripped that little shirt off. Everybody just go crazy.
Mm-hmm. I could see that. I fell for it. I was younger. I was like, dude, eat my vegetables, say my prayers. I'm going to do that. Hulk Hogan got a cross around his neck. You know what I'm saying? He going to be at church tomorrow. He got to.
20 years later, you see a video of him screwing his best friend's wife.
And saying the N-word.
And saying how much he hates us. It's like...
And then sued. You know what I mean? Tapes got leaked and they didn't make $1 billion off of it.
Yeah.
He sued
he sued
got $1 billion.
Yeah. That's crazy. Sued the radio station and like somebody else. It was
Gawker.
Crazy.
They took down their website.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But it was like some billionaire that they outed financed Hulk Hogan's lawyers. So they used Hulk Hogan as like a front, but they got him like the best representation so that they could take down Gawker because they were putting people's business out in the streets.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't, when all of that went down, like I wasn't hurt at all. I was like, I ain't never like him no way. So
I was distraught. I was like, when he said brother, I really thought he was like cool with us. Like I didn't know. I didn't know that.
When I was hurt, when I found out Italians didn't like black people, like the Italian mob.
Yeah.
Because like as a kid, I really liked mob movies, like
Goodfellas
and all that kind of stuff.
And like when they were talking about us, it just like went over your head.
Yeah, you never really paid attention until you get older. And like I was watching a movie and like Lucky Luciano, who was like my favorite mobster, he was like, we don't sell drugs, we leave the pennies for the niggas. And I was like,
right.
You can't say that, Lucky.
Yeah.
I was so hurt. Like it tore me up inside.
you know, like Jay-Z probably had to ignore so much of that. Because I feel like all the first Jay-Z videos, he's cosplaying mafia movies.
Yep.
You know,
all
like all
albums.
the Reasonable Doubt stuff. You know, it's like, you know, first he's like in a film noir.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's like in like, you know, The Godfather and stuff. I think that's part of maybe why it was like such a slow build. You know what I'm saying? Because I think there was some people like, what has he got on? What is this? You know?
But it was. I think it was like really integrated into like our culture as in the 90s, like heavy. Everybody wanted to be a mobster. You know? It was everybody was with suits and cigars, and you know, it was like a big thing.
I didn't speculate that the Italians didn't like us until Eddie Murphy Raw.
Oh, okay.
That's when it was like, wait, what? When he was talking about Rocky, I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. This is crazy.
Yeah, I forgot all about that, but you're right.
Rocco!
Yeah. Richard Pryor has a great bit about Italians, like just how nonchalantly they talk about murder. Like, he's like, well, not just Italians. I'm sorry, don't take this the wrong way. I meant the mafia itself.
Right.
He's like, he just was sitting there and he's like, yeah, you know, so I poked his eye out and then I strangled him. You know, they just like having a good time over dinner. It's like, okay, wow.
Damn Fool, you grew up in Chicago?
Yeah, South Side.
You on the show South Side?
Yeah, which was good. I had a great time doing this show.
What was that like?
I mean, it was different. I had my childhood was different. I kind of like say I'm like the Black Forrest Gump because I've lived so many different lives. Yeah, in one life.
Did you have braces on your feet, on your legs?
No, I didn't. But nah, I didn't. But like growing up, it was like my mama was very heavy in the church. Okay, so that was like the beginning of my life, like the church boy, like going to church every day. We was there all the time. It was like we lived at the church. You know what I'm saying? Then my mama was like a cook, so she cooked the church meals and all this stuff. So I was always there.
Were you in the choir?
I was in the children's choir.
Okay.
You know, I thought like that. And that was like my life. I thought that was everything. Then I found out the pastor at our church was screwing everybody. And it kind of like, I had like that Malcolm X moment where he found out Elijah Muhammad wasn't as amazing as he thought. Yeah. And then I just kind of like totally turned away from that whole lifestyle. Okay. Like it was like 100%, you know, not 360, 180. I just was like, I don't want to be that person anymore. It was like, I went the total opposite and just like, it was like, now I want to be hang out on the streets. I want to be a vice lord. I want to do all kinds of stuff. I don't want to go to church though. Because they lied to me. You know what I'm saying? So then it was like that phase where it was like trying to run the streets and run around and do that. And then realizing that was just as crazy because it was like I was doing all this crazy stuff for handshakes and pats on the back. Right. It wasn't really getting me nowhere.
Another church.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, he crazy. It's like, that's it? Ain't like, don't nothing else come from this? It was like, nah, just jail time. So that was, you know, but like growing up in the neighborhood was different. It was like, you know, I've ate a lot of dirt, like dodging bullets and drive-bys and stuff, like stuff that was normalized to me. And then I like got older and like started hanging out with other people and talking to them that lived other places, like especially when I started doing comedy. And people was like, no, that's not how I lived. Right. Like, and I was like, oh, that's not normal. Okay,
I saw it in movies, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's, you know, you sitting on the porch eating popcorn with your grandmother. And then somebody come down the street like, you're like, oh. And we just would like get up and walk in the house. It was like we wasn't running. It wasn't no big deal. There was times where people would come down the street and they would tell us because my grandma was like, she was like that corner. She was the cornerstone like old lady in the neighborhood. She lived on the corner too. So it was like they would come down. They would literally come outside and be like, tell her that we called her Big Mom. They'd be like, Big Mom, go on in the house. It's about to get crazy out here. Like, because she sat on the porch a lot. Yeah. And they would just tell her, like, go on in the house, you know, because we about to start shooting. It's like, oh, okay, well, let us get our stuff. This was normal behavior for me at 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? So,
that's cool to get a warning.
Yeah, it is. because it keeps you from getting shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an interesting growing up on the South Side. Like I wouldn't take any of it back because it's made me who I am. Because I have a very thick skin. You know what I'm saying, and other things. But yeah, it was a trip. Like trying to deal with all of that. It's like my life was a very interesting one in a lot of different aspects. Like I found out when I was like 13 or 14 that I was adopted, and like the whole it's like my life is full of a lot of lies. Like the church lied to me, then the gang lied to me. Then I found out my whole family been lying to me my whole life. It's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'm not even really from here. Like it was crazy, yeah.
Wow.
So it was just a lot of growing up was an interesting place, and like it definitely helps me realize a lot of stuff about myself now and why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
I don't trust nobody.
How did you come up with the name Damn Fool? I feel like there was a time where a lot of comedians had nicknames, and I feel like we're kind of like a couple generations that have abandoned that. Yeah. But I do feel like, like there was a time where I felt corny for using my real name. Right. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like, I
came in like right on the cusp of that like transition where it was like everybody was like, you got to start using your real name. Like for me, Damn Fool was just like, it was that thing, like growing up, like once I left, like got out of the whole church life, I was kind of reckless, doing a lot of crazy stuff, acting the fool, not really like crazy, out of control, just like, just a little bad kid pretty much, and did a lot of prankster type stuff in school. Always was in trouble, stayed in the principal's office. Well, it was either pulling pranks on somebody or getting into a fight because I pulled a prank on somebody. Okay. So it was a lot of that. And like my mom used to always tell me, like, you'll never make it nowhere in life being a damn fool. So when I started doing comedy, my whole point was to prove her wrong. Like I'm gonna act a fool all over the country and get paid for it. And I'm gonna be somebody. And
someday I made sure they're gonna write a check out to Damn Fool.
Yeah. Damn Fool Incorporated. So that was the whole point behind that. And then like growing up in church, like they used to always use the phrase that God takes care of fools and babies. You know what I'm saying? More than anybody else. So I always felt like, that was my thing. Like I'm good. God got my back. You know what I'm saying? And then it was like, my uncle had a saying as when I was younger, he would always say, you can learn something from anybody, even a fool. He was like, because some people, anytime you learn something, anytime somebody tells you something you didn't know, you just learned something. And I was like, oh, okay.
And you was like, yo, that's me. I'm a fool.
That's deep. Wasn't deep at all, but I was like, I got you, man. I'm finna run with that.
That's real, though. There are people who are pretentious and they feel like they can't gain anything from certain people. And I do feel like, everybody has something to offer. I subscribe to that. I'm cool with that.
I definitely subscribe to that. Like I've sat down and talked to some of the weirdest people. People are like, why are you talking to James the Wino in the neighborhood? Because the nigga got an interesting story. Yeah. He did stuff that I ain't never done or that I don't know nothing about. So,
You got to find out how to not be Kevin the Wino. You know? You got to... You talk to James the Wino so that, like... You just see, all right, he made that choice, and then,
Yeah, nah, seriously. That's, there it is. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the main reasons I don't smoke crack, because there was so many crackheads in the neighborhood. It's like you got to see what it was. You know what I'm saying? The generation before us, it was just like a new drug to them. It's like, oh, it's like weed times 2. It's like, no, you're going to sell your baby. But, they didn't know that at the time. But now... So, like, to see somebody on that type of stuff at my age would be like, hey, man, did you not pay attention? You know what I'm saying?
Like, How did you get there?
How did you get there? You saw what it did to people.
Like, when I was young, I remember them saying, oh, yeah, and some people, they die the first time they try it. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably me.
Yeah, right. I've always been like, that's one of the...
That's going to be me.
Dude, that's
I'm not going to try it.
That's one of the things that kept me from doing a lot of drugs. It's like... I've always
Lynn Bias.
Yeah, I ain't got the best luck in the world, so it's like that one time I'll be that dude. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right.
Like, yeah, I get it. I definitely been there.
Well, what's your favorite color? Sky.
Favorite color? Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, blue. I guess.
Okay.
It's a clear day. I don't know.
All right.
I don't really like gray skies.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite. I'm not into those. But yeah, I'm blue would have to be my favorite color. That's a question I've never been asked before.
Hey, no one else asked that but me. That's an Inconsistent Podcast original right there.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite color? Sky.
You never know.
Yeah, because that's like you do have to think about it. Like, wait, have I seen any other colors? Like,
you probably seen plenty of colors.
Exactly.
You've been all over the place.
Exactly.
If you could be any animal, what animal would you be?
I'd have to say a bird.
A bird?
I appreciate the freedom.
Yeah.
Of a bird, just being able to soar and I don't
You giving up arms for wings?
Yeah. Like if I had to be an animal, like I feel like I could be something fierce like a lion or something like that, but then I got to deal with lion shit, like fighting other lions, and I don't really want to do all that. I'd rather just fly around and chill, have a good time. It's like the bird's life seems pretty carefree.
Yeah.
Even though it's not like you don't have many bird predators like people that like animals is just like chasing birds and eating them, but
right.
So they kind of got their own thing. They kind of got their own space.
They are the predator.
A lot of
times.
You
gotta be kind of mean to be a bird.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way, but I guess if you think about it, because I've seen birds like snatch puppies up.
Right.
Especially at Runyon Canyon, that happens a lot.
Really?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Are you a hiker?
I am. It's how I kind of like clear my mind.
Okay.
Like I'll hit up a nice hike by myself, just walk and think. No headphones.
No headphones?
Yeah, no nothing. Like I just want to hear the chirping and other people's feet pattering and just kind of lose myself in my own thoughts.
I haven't walked no headphones in a long time.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah, the only time I'm like not with even I guess sometimes when I take a shower, but other than that, I'm like always got something going.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm like that in every other aspect of my life. So when I go, like, like I'm just all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it comes to that, like I get the TV on. I might be watching TV and looking at watching some on my phone at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm playing the video game and listening to a podcast on my phone. Like it's always something going. It's a TV on in the front room, the TV on in my bed. Like I'm always consumed by something because I hate downtime.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And or alone time, like being alone with my own thoughts is like the scariest thing to me. So that's why, because I'm always blocking it out, that when I go hiking, that's my time to like just process all those thoughts, go through it, deal with it, see what it's all about, as opposed to steady like pushing it to the side like I normally do and avoiding it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I take that 1-2 days a week where it's just like I'm finna hit this mountain and I'm just finna be with my thoughts.
Dolo?
Yeah.
No animal, no nothing, just
Nah, I ain't never been an animal person.
Yeah?
Nah. Never. It's like, and it's funny because people always take it like I hate animals because
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm fine with people thinking
I kind of hate when people say that though. It's like nah, I don't hate animals.
Yeah.
Like just because I don't have a pet doesn't mean I hate animals. It's like
I just started petting dogs maybe like 5 years ago.
Because I don't. You know who I have a problem with? Animal people. It's not the animal.
People
the animal
extreme.
itself is cool.
Yeah.
It's y'all that get on my nerves. It's the people who own the animal. You know what I'm saying? Like, Is they just do too much. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like, I don't not have a pet because I don't like them. I don't have a pet because people like me, so I don't need one.
I got you.
You lonely mother. No.
I mean, like, I get it, like the attachment, and like when people tell me like something happens to their animal, I'm like, I understand and I empathize.
Yeah, to
with
a certain
that.
degree.
Yeah, to a certain degree, but at the same time, you know, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, nah. Like, it's certain stuff I'm just not gonna pay for an animal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, hey man, the dog gotta have surgery. Just like, hey.
Right. What would the dog do in the wild if it needed surgery?
Who gonna pay the $2,500?
Right.
For like, I'm not. I don't know, man.
There might be a coyote out there outside that needs surgery, and it's never gonna see a doctor.
Never. And so, you know, I hate people who give animals like human names. I think that is the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, your dog should be named Spot, Tiger, something like that. Not Jerry or Larry or Mike. You know what I'm saying? Because that's confusing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a friend. She had like her daughter was staying with her mom in St. Louis, and we went down there to visit. And I get there, and she's talking about how every time she comes from school, Larry runs up, knocks her down, and starts licking her feet and her face. And everybody laughing, and I'm like, where is this pedophile that's so I can break his face?
Right,
like,
right.
Why is this okay with y'all? And find out Larry's a Labrador. It's like, come on, man. Like, y'all got me out here looking for somebody that ain't even out here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I never. Yeah, I'm always dolo. No pet.
Yeah. Did you ever have a pet?
I had a couple goldfish I murdered. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Overfed. Came on. I had a goldfish named Popeye. I remember, like, he had these big old eyes, and I named him Popeye. It was a black goldfish. You know what I'm saying? And like, I came home, I had fed him too much. He was belly up.
Oh no.
It was kind of devastating. Didn't really want to deal with nothing like that again. Like, the closest I came to having a pet was like in my second grade class. We had a hamster.
Okay.
And
we had a hamster. And in my 5th grade class,
he was cool until he yawned, and like you could see inside his mouth. And he was like, "Ugh," like, I'm good.
But then this girl, I used to clean up the classroom for my teacher. I was that kid.
Okay.
After school,
yeah.
And this other girl would clean up the classroom.
I probably would have been trying to beat you up.
I would wash the board. Somebody got to wash the board. We need a clean board tomorrow. We got stuff to learn. Like, somebody got to watch the board. So, but the girl, she would be messing with the hamster. Like, when nobody was looking, like putting a pencil in there, poking the hamster and stuff.
Terrible.
I wonder what she's doing. She's a serial killer.
Yeah, or a veterinarian.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That is weird, though. It's like, why would you do something like that? Leave the hamster alone. He ain't doing nothing either.
Right. The teacher thought she was sweet, too. She was like, look, she cleans up the room, blah, blah, blah. Then she'd walk out.
She just here to poke the hamster. Like, what type of person are you? You remember her name?
I do. I don't. I don't want to say it.
Like, listen, Cheryl, call us. Let us know what you're doing right now in life.
Well, no, she had an older sister that I went to high school with, so I don't want to flip flop them.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember both of their names, but I don't want to put hamster poking on the other one's jacket. So yeah,
that's not her crime.
yeah. It's like, that don't even sound like me. I know.
That sounds more like Cheryl. Tatiana was really into poking hamsters. Wait, you know what? I forgot about my pet squirrel. And that was kind of
wait. What?
It was kind of like on accident, like because the way that our house was, like my bedroom, there was a tree right in front of the house, so the tree was like right in my window.
Yeah,
so I could literally, like, I never like touched him or nothing, but like I would sit there and like talk to him. I would put little shit out on the windowsill and he'd fuck with it.
Yeah,
but that was the closest I ever came. Yeah.
Do you? I didn't realize they had squirrels in Chicago.
You're not the first person to say this. That's crazy to me. Like, somebody else said that to me. I had a whole argument with a dude about squirrels in Chicago.
Well, like now that I'm thinking about it, I used to see squirrels in the parks in New York, even though New York's not known for squirrels.
No, rats.
Yeah. But if I saw
what's
rats and pigeons.
Yeah.
But like if I saw a squirrel in Chicago, I don't think I'd be surprised.
Okay. Yeah, this dude was really like shocked when I said I knew what a squirrel was. I was like, "What do you mean?" Like,
that you knew what it was?
He's like, "Well, what kind of squirrels did y'all have?" I was like, "I don't know, gray ones." Like, we had gray squirrels, we had brown squirrels, we had like it was just squirrels. I don't know what.
Yeah,
he was like so thrown off. Like, man, I don't think you knew what you're talking about. I'm like, dude, I was there my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I think I know if I seen a squirrel or two.
Yeah, city squirrels.
Yeah. Yeah, squirrels. It's just like when we had it. Like there was always pigeons, and then there was a regular bird.
What is a regular bird?
Now, my friend is here. She's from Chicago too. But do you remember like the regular birds, like the little brown bird that wasn't a pigeon? We didn't know what that kind of bird it was, but it just wasn't a pigeon, and it was like the bird you saw all the time.
So it's like you see a bird, and you're like, "Oh, a pigeon," and then somebody older is like, "They ain't no pigeon."
No, you knew.
And then you're like, "What
is
is it?" And they're like,
"A bird."
That's a regular bird.
It's a regular bird. It's like there was never a name for it. Like, oh, that's a monarch. No, it's just a bird.
I think I have a picture in my head of what a regular bird is.
It's just a little brown bird that kind of like just be there.
Yeah.
Nowhere near as big as a pigeon. You know
okay.
Like, and pigeons was always like, you knew a pigeon. It was always like gray. It was pigeons were like they had like different tones. It was like it would be gray up here, then like have a white line right here, and then up under there would be another tone of gray. It was like it kind of looked like a Saturn.
Pink feet.
Like, yeah, it was like
a little
have a
sprinkle of green in there. Yeah.
It's like this thing is a work of art.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, regular birds.
Regular birds. So when you had this pigeon, was it an outside pigeon, or did you bring when you had the squirrel, was it an outside squirrel, or did you bring the squirrel indoors?
No, I never bought it indoors. I never really interacted with it like that. It was just like I could see the pigeon from my the squirrel from my window.
I felt bad, but you did it too.
Yeah. I could see the squirrel from my window. And like he would jump on the sill a lot and just be out there walking around. And I would kind of talk to him through the screen. I was a kid. So
okay.
Like, and then like when he wasn't out there, I would put little shit out there for him to eat because I was still terrified of the smell.
Yeah.
Like, I was scared of it because it's a squirrel. You know what I'm saying? Like you ever see a squirrel bite a tomato?
No.
Or something that like an apple. Like so
Maybe.
even though I grew up in the hood, like my grandmother, she would go to vacant lots in the neighborhood and like clean out all the bottles and trash, and then she would like till the land. Like she would literally go out there with her hoe and like make rows and like plant stuff like collard greens, tomatoes. It's like we are not in Georgia or Mississippi, man. We are on the south side of Chicago. It's literally a gas station right there, and you digging in the ground making. Yeah. But she did this all the time, so it was like I would see where the squirrel would like bite the tomatoes, and it's like it's a big bite in it like a whole like a person bit it.
Right.
Or like they eat acorns. You know how hard an acorn is? Like the fact that you bite into this, like I don't want you to bite me. So
that's true. When I went to University of Georgia in Athens, there were squirrels everywhere. Yeah. Squirrels were like running Athens when I got there. It was crazy. And like I feel like white people would just be like walking, but black people would be like stomping, like get like like getting the squirrels. Cause I don't know, it's just something about. Cause squirrels are crazy. They are nuts.
Yeah, it's like a rat that ain't scared of you.
Right.
It's like cause mice and stuff or a rat will kind of run from you, but unless you're in New York. And like I feel the same way about people in New York about how you felt about the white people and the squirrels in Athens.
Yeah.
Like, in New York, everybody is just too like cool with these rats. It's like they're not bothered by them at all.
Rats go straight though.
Yeah.
Squirrels can like change directions.
They real sporadic.
Like rats are very like 80s basketball.
Yeah.
But squirrels are like Allen Iverson, like, oh man, we never seen anything like this before. we getting crossed over.
Exactly. Yeah, like the rat just kind of mosey past you.
Yeah.
Yeah, squirrels are like all over the place. It's like, oh, okay.
LA's not known for its rats, but they're smaller, but they are like when you're near a rat, like they travel deep.
Yeah.
Like I've been downtown places where I've been like, yo, this is the rat street.
Yeah, it definitely. Like
they run this street.
Especially
you gonna have to skip.
Yeah, especially downtown LA. It's like they out there.
Yeah, they are out there.
You got to respect them because you in their territory. They are deep.
What kind of music were you listening to? Were you like, so when you were in the church, are you listening to secular music? Are you allowed to listen to secular music?
No, not for a long time. So
what's your intro into secular music?
Ooh. I mean, here's the thing. Because I'm a kid, I'm slightly rebellious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm scared to death of going to hell, so I don't do too much.
Okay.
Because that's the thing that
so
they
no
do.
Rick James.
Yeah, that's what they do to you when you're a kid and you go to church. They terrify you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, church is probably one of the most terrifying places to be if you're a child. It's like just dead people hanging all over the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and everything they tell you is like, if you do this, you're going to go to hell and burn forever. It's like, this is terrifying.
Right. And you see adults, like, participating.
Exactly. So it's like you believe them. Cause you're like, oh, man, this is crazy. So I wasn't doing too much, but as you know, as a kid, you hear music. You can't help but hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to go to school. So people going to be like, man, you heard that new so-and-so. Like, there was a time when I was so terrified of, like, going to hell that, like, even if somebody would walk up to me with, like, a Walkman and be like, listen to this song, I'd be like, no! Get away from me, Satan! Like, I was terrified from 3 to 8.
Yeah.
Or like probably about 10 maybe. I was like terrified. I thought everything was gonna send me to hell.
Mm-hmm.
So like I wouldn't do it. I remember one time like I was at my friend's house he lived across the alley, and like my mom never let me go anywhere for that reason, because it's like you go outside of this house, it's not a Christian house and people gonna be like blah 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 blah. So which she was right, because I went over there and the first thing this nigga showed me when I got over there was a Luke video. And I was so uncomfortable, bro. Like it was just like I was like, oh man, I gotta get out of here. I wouldn't leave. I just kept looking, but I was like, I can't look, but I want to look a little bit.
That's a wild, yeah.
Bro, it was crazy. They like, what's wrong with you, man? Your mama ain't here. I was like, I know, but like her and God real
God
close. Her and God real tight, so he gonna tell her like it's gonna be over with for me, man. Like she talked to him daily. So yeah, so I was, I would hear stuff and like, but I think I don't know what my first. I think I'd have to say Tupac.
Really?
Like, I went all the way. Like, cause like I told you, once I found that out, revelation out that the pastor just wasn't no good at my church, I just like went hard, and like Tupac was my thing. And like I even tell people like Tupac ruined like 7 years worth of music for me.
Really?
Because I wouldn't listen to nobody else while he was alive. So it was like,
really?
Yeah, because if Tupac didn't like you, I didn't like you.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was that kid. You know what I'm saying? Like I started getting tattoos because of Tupac, all kinds of stuff.
I was thinking about that earlier today because I was like, in a time where like people weren't, like you had the radio, you didn't have as much control, unless you had the CD.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't like, if you sided with an artist,
yeah,
then what did you do?
You kind of just cut everybody else off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I had every Tupac album. I bought all of them.
Really?
Yeah, but like, and like, here's the thing. You sneak and listen to, like, just like how it was with church, like how I would sneak and listen to some secular music. Every now and then I would listen to somebody outside of Tupac, but it's like I would feel bad. Like, no,
right?
Pac said, "Don't listen to Mobb Deep." Like, like I didn't listen to nothing from the East Coast until I was probably like 17.
Oh my God!
And like I probably was like 15. I say, and the first like non-Tupac album I bought.
What?
Memphis Bleak, Coming of Age.
Okay.
Yep.
What a intro. Cause Memphis Bleak had like everything.
Yeah.
They really like, you know what I'm saying? Like it really felt like they were setting him up to be next.
Yeah, that was my intro into like what people call real hip hop or like East Coast music or whatever. Like it was always Tupac. It was like, and it wasn't like I was a West Coast fan. I was just a Tupac fan. Like I didn't like nobody else from the West Coast. It was just Tupac. I was a Tupac fan. I rode with Tupac. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the music on the West Coast I really thought was weird anyway.
Really?
Yeah, just like the whole. I think it's the way they talk or rap, because it was like very pimpish. Like,
yeah,
every time I'm in the store, I'm gonna hit you. You know, it's like it was just kind of like, am I scared of this nigga or not? It was kind of weird, but you know. And then you get older, as I got older, I started expanding and like being more into different music. But yeah, Memphis Bleek and Tupac were my intro into the secular world.
Wow.
Tupac first, because like by the time Memphis Bleek came out, I was already done.
Yeah.
My innocence was gone.
My joint is acting up. I want to pull up some Memphis Bleek, but it's acting crazy.
My favorite song was the one where he talked about how he met Jay-Z. And he put $1,000 in his hand. He was like, "No, I rap with you for free." I was like, "You crazy?" I would have took that $1,000 and still been like, "I ride with you." Like, he's got a very interesting story though.
Yeah,
he's been like, well, I mean, not necessarily his story, but just when you think about like Memphis Bleek, it's like that's Jay-Z's homie, like for life.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like he kind of like, you know, he really ain't. I don't know this for sure, but I feel like he ain't really ever got to make another album.
No, he don't.
Or he didn't have
That's
to.
That's documented.
He didn't have to then. It was like Jay just really he his guy. And it's like he ain't gonna let you go by the wayside.
Right.
But I thought that was pretty cool. Like even it was funny. Like I was watching I think it was Drink Champs when he was talking, and he was like how he was afraid to call Jay for Beyonce tickets for his wife.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was crazy.
I was like, I get it though, because it's like,
I get it.
Yeah, it's like you the big homie, that's wifey, but at the same time, it's like when you do it, it's like, hey, maybe I can get a couple of them tickets. It's like you gotta kind of like slide it in because you're like.
Well, also it's like I feel like they have the type of relationship where he knows Hov is gonna clown him
for asking.
He
gonna get him.
And also, it's like, what if we bet on the game? What if something else? You know what I'm saying? What if there was already something else brewing? Now I gotta face that, and I'm asking for these tickets, and
I'm definitely that friend though. Like, I'll give you whatever you ask me for, but I'm gonna chastise you about it.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
for
that's
sure.
That's just the type of person I am. Like,
it's fun. It should be fun for everybody.
Yeah. I hate it when people do it to
right.
me, but because and I'm a hypocrite in that way. Like I hate when people do it to me, but I would definitely be like, "Oh, this what you need."
I can appreciate a good one. Yeah. I can always give it up for a good one. If somebody hits me and they got a good joke, I could definitely
Oh yeah, I'm always down to give it up for a good one. Like, all right, you got me. Sometimes the timing on them just be the best. It's like it don't even be the funniest thing that somebody said. It's just it came out at the right time. You're like, oh,
right.
You got me with that one.
Damn fool. I feel like I don't know, man. I feel like I remember so many funny moments. So much. You talked me off the ledge one time.
That's funny. I do remember that.
I was really about to quit comedy.
Yeah, that was an interesting night. Those were some good times. Like those times we had like early on in Atlanta. Like when I was living down there for a little while. Like just all of us. We had such a good like a little good core group of people that was just like kicking it. And all the little rooms we were doing, and like, but I do remember that night. I was like, that was back when you used to have the what was that thing called? You used to
kazoo?
bring the kazoo. But I remember being like, "Hey man, yeah, you weird, but that's all right. That's what makes you different.
Yeah.
Like you keep coming up there with your kazoo."
Right.
But I'm glad we had that talk because it was like you were serious. He was like, "Man, it ain't going the way I wanted to. Like they not being receptive the way I wanted to." I'm like, "Nah, bro, you got it. You're definitely funny. You can see it. It's just you're different."
Man, I do wonder like, cause like I know now like it worked out all right, but I do I do wonder what is it that some people saw. Like I just remember you being such a pro, and I remember like there was a time where I thought, oh, if something happens in the show can't come back from it,
Right.
And then I would see you, and it didn't matter what happened before you went up.
Yeah.
When you were on stage, it was Damn Fool's time. It was Damn Fool's show, and you could go anywhere. You could do, a English character. You could do, you could take us to, the hood. You could take us to wherever. And we were literally just, your random thoughts, your ideas, just wherever you wanted us to go, we would go. And I just I learned so much from seeing that. And and you just always had like such good takes.
Okay.
Yeah, like we talking about sports, we talking about whatever. Yeah. It's just like, yeah.
But you know what it is, man. Like for me, like I was as good as I was because of the people around me. I feel like, or not even the people around me, just the people I came up around. And like I'm always been a good listener, so I've learned a lot directly and indirectly from others. Like you know what I'm saying. Like you gotta think like when I first started. Like I came in and I was rolling with like Michi, Wildcat, Lil Rel was like Lil Rel was part of that. D-Ray was kind of like our mentor.
All Chicago comics. Yeah.
D-Ray was kind of like our mentor. He put us together into the little group that we had, the Last Laugh Troupe. So it was like I had good people around me, but then it's like I'm in Chicago, so it's like then you also got like I had cats who took a liking to me who were great at this shit, like Deion Cole or Damon Williams. You know what I'm saying? I learned a lot from like Deion Cole and Marcus Combs, just like directly and RP. Indirectly. You know what I mean? That's what like Marcus Combs taught me about commitment on stage, like to commit and stay in that bit no matter what's happening.
Yeah,
this joke is funny, so just keep going and like. Just his like the way he would commit. Like I remember one time I saw him do a bit on Comicview, and it was like I was so blown away. But it was kind of simple. But it was like the dedication that he had to that particular bit was like, okay, I get it. He was like talking about how the lock didn't work on the apartment where he lived, so they would like slide the couch up against the door to hold it closed, and so it's a bit. Which in itself is funny. But the bit was just simply like somebody came to the door. It's like, who is it? It's Charles. It's like, man, now he got to move the couch, open the door, talk to Charles. Like, yeah, all right, cool. Later. Then he closed the door. Instead of going on with the joke, he went back and moved the couch back in front of the door. There's no real couch, though. He's just doing this all, like, on stage.
Right.
And, like, just that commitment, how he didn't forget to go back and move the couch in front of the door before he started talking to the audience again, was like, wow. And then, like, Deion taught me that whole thing of, like, your time on stage is your time on stage. I would watch Deion. Deion didn't care who or what went up before him.
Yeah.
Because when I first came into the game, it was a lot of that, like, man, I can't go up behind so-and-so. They do this and they do that. Like, can't nobody follow so-and-so. And it's like, I had that attitude of like, man, I can go up behind anybody. It's like, you ain't take all the laughs out the room. There's something left.
Right.
And I got that from, like, Deion. Because he was just always like, when you up there, it's your time. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't worry about what happened before. Don't worry about what's going on after you. You know what I'm saying? And, like, I would always, like, whenever Deion was in the room, I would always go, and I knew he was there, I would always, like, go extra hard on stage. And then I'd come off and I'd be like, what you think? And, like, he never really would, like, say anything. It was just like, And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And then, like, the one time I got off stage, I knew I had ripped. And instead of stopping to ask him, I just walked outside. And that was the first time he came outside and was like, now you know what it is. He's like, you got it. He's like, because you don't need me to tell you that you did a good job. You know when you did a good job. He was like, so, and then he was like, that's what I was waiting on. It was like, man, like I learned a lot from like all these cats.
Man, I remember seeing the Last Laugh like jersey on Comicview, and like, so as a crew, are y'all like writing together? Are y'all doing shows together?
We definitely did shows together. It was me and Michi did a lot more writing together than me and everybody else. You know what I'm saying? But but like Michi was almost like the Last Laugh agent.
Okay.
Like, Michi thing was if a show getting booked, it's all four of us. It's him, me, him, Wildcat, and Real.
Packaging before packaging.
Right. He had the whole tour put together. It's like, if you booked Michi, he would book us.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And like they'd be like, oh, they tell Michi put the show together. You knew who he was coming to get.
Yeah.
And, you know, when it wasn't one of us, or when it was more needed than that, he would take other people. But like, and that was always Michi's thing. Michi's always been like the comic / promoter dude. Like, Michi always kept, like, it's a lot of people in Chicago who you can't find too many people, like, especially in the beginning of their career, that can say Michi didn't put money in their pocket, because he did. He put money in a lot of people's pocket. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
fine.
Like, that was his thing. It's like, and because there was a time like when he was like the hottest thing in the city.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like he shared that with everybody. And I always thought that was crazy about him, like not in a bad way, but like just awesome. Like, this dude is selfless. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gave so much of himself to make sure that everybody was looked at the same way. And like, I thought that was real cool. Wildcat, I learned a lot. Like, with Rail, I would watch Rail's way of moving. Like, Rail had this thing about him where he took over the city from the club scene, and then like kind of branched out. It was like you always saw Rail. He was always out kicking and having a good time. That in turn, like, with people, he was cool with all the promoters and club goers, so that would make them come to his shows because he always went to their parties. You know what I'm saying? And he kind of like, you kind of like watched him build his fan base out of that, and like he took over the whole city and then branched out. You know what I'm saying? And started doing it. Like, I remember when Rail had a thing where it's like, I'm not leaving Chicago until they call for me, like, type of attitude. And it's like, some people thought that was messed up, but it was like, I'm not going to LA, and like, when it's time for me to be there, I'll know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people was like, oh, he cocky, this, and it's like, nah, he just got a plan.
Yeah.
And as we can see, that plan worked out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always seen him as like, he always knew. You know what I'm saying? Rail always had that mind that was kind of different. It's like he knew where he was going and what he was doing. So it's like I would just watch his moves and kind of pay attention, you know what I'm saying, and see what he was doing. And like, and I learned from each one of them and kind of built myself. It was like I had to, like, for a long, like, when I first started, I just was on stage pretty much mimicking Richard Pryor. Cause I really loved Richard Pryor. And then I found my own voice and my own way in there, you know what I'm saying? But it came from being around those dudes. They like, I really had a good group of people around me, you know what I'm saying, back then. And so by the time I got to Atlanta, I was already a couple years in and had done a couple TV shows. It was like, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Right,
you know
right.
Like, and that fearlessness is what made getting up there and just like going in, like, this is nothing. I got this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's definitely the guys that I came up around. You know what I'm saying? And girls, you know, people like Vanessa Fraction. You know what I'm saying? Was very integral. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are all people who really taught me a lot. Like, she taught me more about self-worth in the comedy game and how to ask for what you want and be willing to starve to stand on it to get what you want. Like, don't take that because you need to eat tonight. You just might not eat tonight, but you need to make them respect, you know what I'm saying, your number. And like, I learned that from her. Or just like always, or like caring about my appearance on stage, different things like that. Like, I learned a lot from her as well. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just had a good core around me. You know what I'm saying? And whether they were trying to help me or not, it was like it was happening because they allowed me to be around. So
yeah, I always respected the comics from Chicago. I always felt like, you know, like when I got love from a comic from Chicago, like, cause it seemed like they were like no nonsense, you know, and a lot of really, really great comics and a lot of different styles.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's kind of their own, you know.
Yeah, that's what I loved. Everybody had different ways of going about it. Like you could put us all on the show together and it'd be a totally different show.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? And you would think, oh, they all from the same place. They're gonna be talking about the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, but no. And it's like, and you see that like when you go places where like that city, like most of them are all, you know, they carbon copies of each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's talking about the same thing. But even in that aspect, like, because you think about New York, like the comics out there, a lot of them do talk about the same thing. But it's like, that just goes to show how good they are, because it's like you can take your personality and your take on that same thing and it be totally different from somebody else, even though he just talked about that.
Right.
But it's like a Smokey Suarez, like, dude is an animal. You know what I'm saying? Like, Touré, talent, people like that. Like, and that was another thing about me. Like, people used to be like, well, what did you do? It's like, well, I traveled a lot. So I got to see the comedy world from so many different angles. I saw so many people. So I saw so many different styles. Like in New York, everything was fast paced, like bang 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 bang.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When I would come to LA, it was more, I'd say, character driven and act outs. They wanted to see the show more than they wanted to hear it.
Right. I feel like LA, they want to be played with.
Yeah.
They want to like believe in you as, you know, a funny person before they're receptive of a joke, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And then you had the South that was kind of like, you know, you had to kind of, there was a pace that you had to have down South. You know what I'm saying? And like some people, it's like, people can take it the wrong way, like you're trying to say they slow, but it's like, that's not what I mean. It's like, there's a pace at which they're going to receive it.
Right, right.
And it, like, you know, you moving too fast or doing too much, they're like, oh, come on, man, ain't nobody got time.
Right, like, right. Or they, you know, receive it as like nervous or or lack of presence.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, he's not here. He's just giving us, you know, like, yeah.
But if you can stand in the pocket and like that was the only place where I would like sit down.
Really?
Yeah. Because, like, you know, when I first started in the game, like, all the older comics was like, you ain't been doing comedy enough to sit down. It's like, what kind of weird-ass rule is that? Like,
I mean, I do think it takes, like, I do think sitting down is another beast.
Yeah, it is.
Because I do feel like people can get really, like, bored. Like I've seen sitting down not work out.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it not work out, but then I've seen it work in a way that's like Ali Sadiq. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
You're not finna get no bunch of jumping and running and moving around from that cat. It's like he in the pocket and he's giving it to you. Like, I remember, like, cats like him and Dion, I used to, like, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. I don't want to say envy, but, like, I used to really want what they had. Like, to be more cerebral. Because, like, I was very physical in the beginning. Like, it was like, yeah, I was very physical. Like, I had good jokes, I felt like, but I felt like I was really pounding them home with the act outs and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then it's like, I would see them and it's like, I want to be able to just, like, be like that, where it's like everything is just like, you sitting there, you calm, it's quiet, it ain't a bunch of yelling and jumping and screaming at the crowd. It's just like, pow, 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 pow. You just keep hitting that same spot and, like, tearing them up. But then I found, I met this dude in New York named Greer Barnes. Quite possibly the greatest the greatest comic I've ever seen in my life.
He's incredible, yeah.
And like Greer was that perfect mix between cerebral assassin and doing act outs. It was like he was that perfect balance, and I was like, that's me. That's what I need to be. That guy who can do both. You know what I'm saying? Find my space in the middle. And like once I found that, it was like, oh man. I'm off to the races. You know what I'm saying? Like, So, but yeah, like I said, man, everything, most of my career has been just like really paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Like I listen a lot. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're talking to me or not.
Yeah.
If I'm in the room and there's 3-4 greats in the room, which I've been blessed to be around because I've done a lot of tours and stuff like that. If I'm there, I'm not just there to do the show and, you know, smoke weed. No, I want to hear what y'all talking about. I want to hear what a Corey Holcomb and a Dion Cole got to say to each other. Like, what these minds are saying. Like, I want to hear these conversations. You know what I'm saying? Talent, you know, people like that. Like, I just listened to everybody. You know what I'm saying? And like, I would just be that fly on the wall. And you know what I'm saying? It just helped me to understand more about the game and how to be, you know, how to be who I wanted to be or what I wanted to be in that aspect. You know what I mean?
Dope.
So I appreciate everybody that I have had the pleasure of being around.
Yeah. I appreciate being around you and you know, all the game you soaked up that you were able to, you know, share.
Because that's what it's about. You pay it forward. You know what I'm saying? Like when I like first started meening cats like you and other young cats who was just starting, it was like, oh man, I can't wait to tell you what I know. You know
Right.
You need to ride home? Come on, I got you. We gonna talk comedy all the way there. I'm probably gonna get on your nerves. I'm talking so much, but like it was it just felt good to be able to like pass that knowledge on, especially like someone who was as receptive as you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I saw when I first met you, you reminded me a lot of myself, like just like a student of the game. You wanted to know everything you could. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, that was cool to me. Like,
I was intense.
Yeah.
I was like a monk for comedy. I wasn't smoking. I was smoking a little bit, but I wasn't drinking.
Yeah.
I wasn't really, you know, in these streets like that. I was really just like, I leave work, I go to the comedy club.
Yep.
I go to the comedy club, I go home, I watch all the sitcoms that came on that night.
Yeah,
I watch all the late night shows. Yeah. I'm taking notes. I'm transcribing monologues. Like I'm like all of that. I would Who's Got Jokes comes on at 1 o'clock. I'm gonna eat lunch at 12. Watch Who's Got Jokes for an hour. Get back to it. Yeah. I was hardcore, but now they're talking about comedy school. I'm like, I had to make my comedy school.
Yeah, I created the comedy school.
Yeah, like that's crazy. The people are going to school and majoring in comedy, and it's like
it's whole curriculum.
Right.
I've been seeing that a lot lately.
It's crazy because at Georgia they had a thing where you could make your own. If you made your own curriculum, then you could like major in it or whatever. And I would never think to bring to my parents like, hey guys, I'm gonna be the first person to be a comedy major at this school. Now they said if I do it, I could be the first.
Right.
They be like, if you don't get back,
be that guy. It's like, dude, what? I mean, like, so let me ask you a question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
What was it like the first time you like told your people, whoever, your parents, your friends, that's what you was gonna do? How did they respond or react?
My friends were with it.
Okay.
We were already like my one of my good friends was kind of in the rap scene in Atlanta, like the kind of hipster underground rap scene.
Okay.
So we were just going to shows because our partner was, you know, helping.
Okay.
So he wasn't like a rapper. He wanted to be like a A&R. He just wanted to be like working with artists and stuff. And so we're just kind of around, you know. Okay. We're like, you know, we're on stage or we're in the crowd, you know, like all right, we hyping it up. We know the words. We know the ad-libs. You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't know, we passed the Laughing Skull, and it's like Dick Gregory and George Carlin and Milton Berle and like all these different like people on the wall passing it, and I'm just like, they got a comedy club right there in the city. Yeah. Like that's when the wheels start turning, like, okay, maybe that could be a thing. And then I had a friend in college, he was doing it, and so I was asking him how to get on shows and stuff. So my parents, I was surprised, but my mom, she had listened to like enough Will Smith interviews. She was like, all right, they said he had a year, and then he made Parents Just Don't Understand, so I'm gonna give you a year. Okay. And if you don't make any progress in a year, then we're gonna be pressing you. Yeah, you know,
you'll get a little traction.
Yeah. And I think they came my first time I did well. So that helped. Yeah. And then I think when they saw how serious I was about it, and how I was like, you know, I graduated on a Saturday. That Sunday I was at Uptown. You know what I'm saying? That Monday I was at the Star Bar. That Wednesday I was at, backstage. That, like I was like, I hit it immediately. And so I think them seeing that and seeing like, all right, this
made
man
have a certain level
went
of respect.
from like, from not doing it to like doing 200 something sets the first year, like getting up all the time, like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. I for me, it was like, I don't know, like all my friends and stuff, it was like, everybody was like, it was the way they responded that kind of made me like, what? Like everybody was like, yeah, that's exactly what you should be doing. Like, but everything else I had said before, like I want to be an architect or a lawyer, they was like, like you been stupid, you could definitely do this. Like,
yeah,
slow down, fam. But I was, everybody was kind of like cool with it. Like, let's see how it go. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody came to the shows, but they.
I wasn't ready for my dad to be down. I think that surprised me. I thought my dad probably was not gonna be cool with it, but he was. And then when I started working at CNN, that helped.
Okay, yeah,
because then they were like, all right. Right, we got something we could tell people at church.
that's all your parents want.
That's all they want, man. That's all I wasn't making no money.
They just want me to tell their friends
doing nothing. But like it sound official. It's like, yo, y'all know that big building downtown. My son over there, yeah.
Cleaning the bathrooms, but he there.
He in the building though.
I tell my son that all the time, bro. Like, I just want to be able to say something nice to my friends, bro. Like, we ain't got to do a whole lot.
Right.
That's all parents want, is to be able to brag on their kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying.
Damn Fool, anything you want to tell the people? Anything you need to promote?
Right now, just, I'm out here. I took some time off from comedy. I'm now getting back into it. So
okay.
I will be. I am hitting the road again. I'll be back on the road. I'm coming to a city near you. Just be looking out and watch my Instagram or whatever for that information, or just your local clubs' websites. Because I'm coming to Cleveland, Chicago, Memphis. I'll be in Atlanta. Like, starting next month, I'm back out in these streets. So just be looking for me.
Hey,
it's at Damn Fool is Funny on everything.
All right. Appreciate you coming to the Inconsistent Podcast with Rob Haze.
Man, I like this. This was dope. I used to love these skits, bro.
Yeah. What happened to dude?
He worked for the NBA for a little while.
Really?
Like doing he did a lot of NBA stuff. I forget his name too.
He was in Backstage.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
That movie changed my life. Like, that's when I really started smoking weed and shit. Like, cause it was just like, oh, this is okay. Like,
yeah. Might end up in an arena.
Yeah. Hey, bro, that movie was awesome.
Yeah.
I had never seen a concert from that perspective.
Right.
It was dope. Oh man. Yeah, this is dope. I like